So I'm going to do my best. But like laser and light physiology for most is like, ugh. But I have to do a little bit. Well, we all love lasers. I'm just talking about the science of it, though, like wavelengths and pulse durations and all that stuff starts to get a little boring. So hang with me as we walk through this. I'll make it as quick and painless as possible. For those of you that do not know, IPL stands for intense pulse light, and it has to be a staple if you're going to provide proper and appropriate facial rejuvenation. If you can't color correct a face, you can't adequately rejuvenate someone. Okay, so IPL is the gold standard or the staple treatment to color correct. So we're treating vascular red hues, we're treating sunspots, age spots, and so the way this works is it uses filtered light to target reds and browns in the skin. It causes them to rise to the surface and slough off. So we'll walk through this. Now, this is where it gets a little hairy. InMode has the highest peak power. That's a good thing. And a less shifted photon spectrum. Okay, time out. We'll walk through this. So what does this mean? Well, the highest peak power is our ability to clear reds and browns. So the higher the peak power, the more efficient it is. And then when we left shift the photon spectrum, we're more precise. So more powerful, more precision equals less treatments. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the take-home message through all of the laser physiology is it's more efficient. So rather than needing 3 IPLs, you need 1 or whatever it is for the patient. The fact that this is shifted left, Lumecca, which is us, compared to standard wavelengths, we now are more precise to target where reds and browns live. That's what this means. So it's more precise and it's more powerful. All of those things equal more efficiency, which is less treatments. That's a good thing. So we'll show you some pictures of what one treatment does, and this is the data to back all that stuff up. For those of you that haven't seen IPL, this is very, very commonplace in the aesthetic skincare world, and it's just allowing us to provide our patients a wonderful, smooth foundation. So this is a 515, guys, feel free to take pictures too, because all the settings are on here. 515 filter on this patient. This is just one treatment with 2 passes. And you can see all the way screen left compared to 24 hours. You need to tell your patient socially. They have some little coffee grounds, it looks like, on their skin. That will take 3 days, maybe 5 at most, to slough, depending on how sun damaged their skin. And usually, we create a lot of satisfaction after 1. Now, what I always tell my patients, and nobody asked me this, so shame on you guys, for the Evolve, because most of you raise a hand and says, how long does this last? Was anyone wondering that and just forgot to ask or was too scared to ask? Like with the Evolve, how long does it last? That's my segue to educate you. When your patient asks you, how long does this last or how many do I need? What are they actually asking you? When is the next time I have to spend money in your establishment? So be careful how you answer that question. You don't want to be a used car salesman or a politician because we like neither of them, right? But what you do want to do is educate. So what I do is I use it as an opportunity to educate. And if Mrs. Smith or Mr. Smith asks me that question, I immediately respond with a, well, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, it depends on how well you take care of it, right? So longevity or how many depends on how well you take care of it. And so what I don't know is how you're going to respond. I know this thing works. Everyone responds a little bit differently. So the number of treatments is a little flexible. But at the end of the day, I can get you to a beautiful result. And then in terms of the longevity or when's the next time you have to come in, really depends on how well you maintain it. So that's how I answer that question. So usually here I tell people I can make a lot of improvement with just 1. But we may want another, and then we got to maintain it at least annually. So how many you need ultimately is going to be up to you when you're happy. But once you're happy, then we're going to do 1 a year or 2 a year. Usually just 1 on IPL. And it's in after the summer because they'll go out in the sun and damage everything again. We'll clean them up in the fall.